I'd like to welcome you all to Lakeville's Memorial Day event on behalf of the Lakeville Historical Commission and the town of Lakeville. At this time I would like to read a paper and it's on the history of Memorial Day. Originally called Decoration Day, from the early tradition of decorating graves with flowers, wreaths, and flags. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance of those who have died in service in our country. It was first widely observed on May 30th, 1868, to commemorate the sacrifices of Civil War soldiers. By proclamation of General John A. Logan, the Grand Army of the Republic, an organization was formed, Union soldiers and sailors. During that first national commemoration, former Union General and sitting Ohio Congressman James Garfield made a speech at Arlington National Cemetery, after which 5,000 participants helped to decorate the graves of more than 20,000 Union and Confederate soldiers who were buried there. This national event galvanized efforts to honor and remember fallen soldiers that began with local observances at burial grounds in several towns throughout the United States following the end of the Civil War, such as the May 1, 1865 gathering in Charlestown, South Carolina, organized by freed slaves to pay tribute, giving proper burial to Union troops. In 1873, New York was the first state to designate Memorial Day as a legal holiday. By the late 1800s, many more cities and communities observed Memorial Day, and several states have declared it a legal holiday. After World War I, it became an occasion for honoring those who died in all of America's wars. It was then more widely established as a national holiday throughout the United States. In 1971, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act and established that Memorial Day was to be commemorated on the last Monday of May. So that is why we're here, to honor veterans and to remember our comrades and it's just, sorry, I'm old. Okay. So I'd like to call upon now Martha Gladue, retired Master Sergeant, Air Force National Guard, who will place the wreath at the memorial stone. Thank you, Mark.
July of 1918, he was appointed sergeant. On August 8, 1918, his group was in action. And then on October 16, 1918, he was killed at Hill 180 in Hill Lane, France. here with us at Granite Bench. It was the cannon that was and wasn't, or isn't. One of the decisions of the World War I Soldiers' Aid Committee of Lakeville was to use money to pay for the freight of shipping a German 77mm gun cannon from New York to Lakeville. Chairman Henry Pember presented the cannon to the town on May 30th, 1920. Selectman Alfred Howard accepted it on behalf of the town. For many years, the cannon stood on the cement slab behind the World War I plaque. During World War II, citizens approved the donation of the cannon to the scrap metal drive after negotiations with a government representative from the Brooklyn Navy Yard. There was a promise that after the war, a gun or a cannon replacement would be placed at the site. We are still waiting. In the meantime, the Lakeville Garden Club placed a granite bench on the cement pad, so you can come and sit, sometimes in the sun and sometimes in the shade.
Thank you, Nancy LeFay. I would like to mention that we have with us today two Lakeville selectmen, Paul Hunt and Chris Polanka. Thank you for being with us. I would like to introduce Rodney Dixon, who will have comments. He's going to do the wreath for us right now. Rodney will do some comments.
Select board members, Chief Veteran Service Officer Christine Boone, family and friends of those who we remember today. Most importantly, Gold Star families and American veterans. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Memorial Day ceremony at the Dickens Island Square. Today we honor the brave men and women who risked their lives in service to our nation throughout history. As we reflect on these legacies, we are reminded that the freedoms we cherish have been secured through the courage, dedication, and selflessness of those who laid their lives on the line for our freedom. Memorial Day provides a profound moment to pay tribute to the fallen heroes whose valor echoes through the generations. In 2025, our remembrance is framed by three significant anniversaries spanning American history. The 250th of the American Revolution's beginning at Lexington and Concord, the 80th anniversary of our World War II victory, and the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War's conclusion. Each represents a chapter in the story of American sacrifice that binds us together and prompts us to reflect on the price of liberty. In 1775, ordinary citizens, farmers, merchants, tradesmen took up arms against a formidable empire to secure the right to self-governance. usually buried near where they fell. One of them was Oliver Barron, a tradesman living in Westford, Massachusetts, with his wife and 7 children. As a 49-year-old Minuteman, he answered the alarm to report to Lexington Green on April 19th of 1775, and he experienced the shock around the world that began the American Revolutionary War. He continued as a militiaman until his 51st birthday, when he joined the Continental Army in 1777. 9 months later, he was killed at the Battle of Saratoga while helping turn the tide of the fledgling American Revolution. The Saratoga National Cemetery, Private Barron's legacy is commemorated with a memorial headstone that the National Cemetery Administration provided in 2022, after his 5th great-granddaughter requested recognition for her ancestors' sacrifice. He is also one of more than 10 million veterans memorialized on the Veterans Legacy Memorial website. Veterans Legacy Memorial is the way the National Cemetery Administration uses modern technology to keep alive the legacies of veterans resting in our national cemeteries. You can access the National Cemetery Administration online at va.gov/remember. The His page includes photos from the dedication ceremony from his memorial marker. Private Barron and his fellow patriots enabled the colonies to become the United States of America and set the new country on a path to emerge as a global force. After more than a century and a half of growth, our country became embroiled in the Second World War. More than 405,300 American service members lost their lives in that war. That bloody conflict raged until 1945. Victory in Europe Day on May 8th, and victory over Japan Day on August 15th. This year, we commemorate the 80th anniversary of our victory in World War II, and we honor those who won the war. William Caddy, a teenager while fighting with Team Lima in the 5th Division, which was engaged in brutal combat against entrenched enemy forces. He was just 19 when he willingly sacrificed his own life to save others. On March 3rd of 1945, Private First Class Caddy was in a rifle pit with his platoon leader and platoon sergeant repelling a grenade attack. After throwing back several grenades, he saw one land beyond reach. He jumped on that grenade to absorb its blast and its deadly fragments, so he could save the lives of the men leading his platoon. PFC Caddy was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, and he rests in the honored glory of the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Hawaii. A few months after Private Caddy's sacrifice, Japan's unconditional surrender ended World War II. But 2 more wars followed quickly in Asia, requiring service and sacrifice from the many more Americans. From 1950 to 1953, the United States lost more than 36,500 service members in the Korean War. Within the next decade, tensions in Vietnam drew more and more U.S. involvement, and the Vietnam War became our nation's longest at the time. We lost more than 58,000 service members in Vietnam, including Sergeant Candelario Garcia of the Army's 1st Infantry Division. He was killed in Lai Cai, when his reconnaissance patrol was ambushed by a large enemy force. When his platoon leader wounded, 24-year-old Sergeant Garcia took charge, leading his men through the intense fire and successful combat. He eliminated 2 enemy machine gun positions, enabling his unit to advance, but he was mortally wounded in the process. Sergeant Candelario Garcia was laid to rest at the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery, and he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. His Legacy Veterans Memorial page includes photos and tributes from from his fellow veterans, in which one of them saying, "Candy was a unique character that was no ordinary soldier. It was my honor to have known such a great man." I'd like to thank the current and former town of Lakeville veteran service officers for their dedication they display daily to make sure that our veterans are properly honored and memorialized. The American Revolution, World War II, and the Vietnam War cover a span of 2 centuries in which our nation was transformed from a small group of British colonies to an independent global superpower. Yet, these significant events are united by a common thread: the willingness of the Americans to lay down their lives for American values. From the frozen fields of the Revolution to the extreme heat of the Pacific Islands, from the intense jungles of Vietnam to the relentless urban and mountain warfare of more recent years, our service members have answered the call of duty with unwavering resolve. Their sacrifices have preserved our freedoms, shaped the course of history, and defined who we are as a nation. As we honor all of those who served, we must especially remember the Gold Star families who carry the weight of loss every day. We owe them recognition for their sacrifices, care, and support during the most difficult times, and the promise to keep alive the legacies of their fallen loved ones. The Department of Veterans Affairs, with its mission to carry veterans and for the veterans and their families, traces its roots to President Lincoln's second inaugural address, delivered shortly before his assassination. He concluded that historic unifying speech by saying, "With malice towards none, with charity for all, with firmness and the right as God us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, do all which may achieve and cherish, and just as lasting peace among ourselves with all nations." On Memorial Day, we look back to mourn those we have lost. That is right and just, but it is not enough. We must also look forward and honor their sacrifices, living up the ideas they fought for, by defending liberties they secured, and by ensuring they are never forgotten. In conclusion, I encourage you to observe the national moment of remembrance at 3 p.m. today. Wherever you are, no matter what you're doing, please take a minute to remember all the men and women who died in service to our nation over 250 years. Thank you for coming here to Dickland Diamond Square to honor all of our fallen heroes, and thank you for supporting veterans and their families. May God bless you, our service members, our veterans in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. I would like to call upon Sterling McLeod to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. General McLeod.
If you would, kindly stand and face our flag and recite with me our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to take a minute or two here for people to call out the names of veterans, servicemen, or people that you would like to remember. So would somebody start off naming a veteran or whoever?
Norman McLeod.
John Harold Newman, United States Marine Corps.
Eugene Barber.
Larry Silver.
Travis Dixon.
Margaret Johnson.
Chris Plumka.
Al Lefebvre.
John Galazzo.
Robert Shaw.
Dave Galbraith.
Robert F. Clark Sr. and Robert Vincent Canada.
James Gross.
James and Jeffrey Newman, United States Marine Corps.
William Shea.
Anthony Silva.
Nicole E.
Thank you. I would like to mention my first cousin, Devin Edmond, who served in Vietnam and was a helicopter door gunner. And he was killed in Vietnam while on a helicopter. Enemy fire. Anybody else? Okay. At this time, I would like to request that we go across the street and we'll continue this in front of the honor roll sign.
Courage is not living without fear. Courage is being scared to death and doing the right thing anyway. There is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a service member, for we are never quite good enough to them. Not really. We cannot be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. So when a service member dies, it tears in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is in a way an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. As we sit here today, the imagination plays a trick. We see the soldiers of World War II in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like our founding fathers, grave and gray hair. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave us two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands, fathers, and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt that we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us. To all those service members, past and present, who have paid the ultimate price for our freedom, we say thank you, and we will never forget your sacrifice. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Okay, more history of the site. This is the honor roll. In June 1942, a committee chaired by W. Hollis Blackburn was formed to compile a roll of honor of men and women from Lakeville who had joined the armed forces. The original plaque honoring people who served in Lakeville in World War II hangs in the town office building. The World War II Honor Roll Memorial stood on the historic townhouse lawn and listed 152 Lakeville residents who served, and amongst those there were 7 nurses included. Over time, the weather took its toll, and the honor roll was removed and stored in the steamroller barn, which is right over here still. In December 2001, the Historical Tour Committee of the Lakeville 150th Anniversary Celebration began the process of restoring the memorial, with a number of groups and individuals assisting and supporting the project, and with a generous donation from the Sardinia family of Middleborough. The honor roll was rebuilt by John Crutchfield and replaced by Roger Hamilton, then DPW Commissioner, and the DPW. Over the years, the memorial has been repaired, and in 2023, a major restoration took place under the direction of Facilities Manager Paul Neal.
Okay. World War II Staple Shore flagpole. That's over here. The flagpole was originally placed at Staple Shore to honor the men from that neighborhood who had served during World War II. In 2009, the World War II Staple Shore Memorial flagpole was moved and placed next to the honor roll at the historic townhouse. The project took place through the efforts of the residents of Staple Shore area and the Select Board and the Highway Department. On Veterans Day of that year, the flagpole was officially dedicated. Now the names of the people that were dedicated at that in 2009 was Bernard Cobb, John Collins Jr., William Dooley, Robert Fish, George Gaudette Jr., William F. Gaudette, Robert A. Kennedy Jr., Alton Lane, Charles P. Penny, Willis N. Penny, and Thomas D. Setter. And more. Francis Shaw, Philip W. Stafford, Richard E. Stafford, and Alan A. Whitbeck were also honored with the flagpole. I would like to call upon Chris Blanca, who's going to do the we're not here that. Do the replay. And Andrew Supra and Suzanne Malonka. Okay, sorry. So would you place the wreaths now? One wreath over there, the other two, one on the front and one on the back. And Chris, I'd like to call upon you to proclamation.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of myself, Select Board Member Paul Hunt, Town Administrator Andrew Suforth, and the other Select Board members, I'd like to thank you for attending this morning's event. I'd also like to thank the Historical Commission for coordinating this event that they do every year, as well as the Veterans Day ceremony. I'd also like to thank the Lakeville Fire Department Honor Guard. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here. They were with us at the fire station, but they couldn't be here because there was a call going on at the moment, so they are manning the station. So again, thank you for them, as always. With that, so I have the privilege of reading the governor's proclamation that we read every Memorial Day. I'm reading it on behalf of State Representative Norm Wall, who couldn't make it this morning because he's attending other events. So with that, a proclamation. Whereas while the nation was still recovering from the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor the soldiers who had given their lives, celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May, is when people remember and honor the memory of all men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts residents have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life. And whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts residents remember the bravery of those who gave their lives, or that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now therefore I, Maura T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, hereby proclaim May 26, 2025 to be Memorial Day, and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance.
I would like to call upon now the Veterans Agent, Christine Booth, to make some comments.
I don't think I need that. As a everybody could hear me. Yes, no? All right, so a little bit about me. I joined the best force in the world, which is the Air Force. Marines, no way. We may be called the chair force, but you know, we're your angels on your shoulders at all times. I joined at the wee age of 20, and I served until 2018, where I retired. I was a combat medic. I did 12 combat tours, so today is very rough for me. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, all the select boards members, the civilians of the community, and just remember what today is worth. When you go home and have your barbecue, have a beer, just put an empty glass out for one of the fallen. They need it up there. They gave us this blessed day, so let's give them back what they fought so hard for. And I appreciate your support, and as the vets agent, I'm here. So if you ever need anything, come on in. So I appreciate everybody coming out, and thank you. And that's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. At this time,
It's the Air Force.
okay. Inside the old town hall, we have refreshments and a display of veterans artifacts. And we invite you to come in and look at the artifacts and have some refreshments. Thank you all.